harnessing big data to boost solar panel performance. Future of solar energy. Imagine harnessing the immense potential of big data and advanced modeling techniques to revolutionize solar energy systems. In a recent conversation with a leading expert in the field, we explored the critical factors that influence the performance of solar PV plants around the globe, particularly in India. By leveraging historical datasets and cutting-edge data analytics, we can optimize the design of solar systems, paving the way for better risk management and enhanced efficiency. So, what should we consider when a solar PV plant isn't performing as expected? The key lies in utilizing long-term, high-resolution solar data that allows us to dissect weather patterns year by year. This method helps us discern whether underperformance is a fleeting issue or part of a larger, systematic trend. Weather variability is a natural part of our climate, but we're witnessing an alarming increase in the frequency and intensity of extreme weather events, especially in India. Over the past few years, several states have reported annual solar radiation levels dipping below the long-term average, a trend that can be linked to stronger monsoons, increased cloud cover, and rising pollution levels. However, predicting whether these deviations will persist remains a challenge, making close observation essential. Now, let's talk about the limitations of typical meteorological year (TMY) datasets. Historically, the solar industry has leaned heavily on these artificial datasets, which represent an averaged or typical year of weather. But as our climate becomes more unpredictable, relying on TMY datasets can be misleading. They often overlook the extremes that can drastically affect PV performance. Instead of depending on a single TMY dataset, we should embrace 25 years or more of continuous historical data. To put this into perspective, a TMY file contains around 8,760 data points, one for each hour of the year, while a comprehensive historical archive with 15-minute granularity can boast over 1 million data points. By running simulations on this extensive archive, we can identify extremes and gain a clearer understanding of year-by-year variability, which is crucial for grasping climate cycles and long-term changes. The message is clear. The solar industry must transition from relying on hourly TMY data to utilizing full historical archives. These high-resolution datasets provide approximately 200 times more information, serving as an invaluable resource for assessing the risks that PV projects may encounter over time. In the past, data-intensive modeling was hindered by software and hardware limitations. However, with the advent of cloud computing and sophisticated physical models, we can now process vast datasets and extract meaningful insights more efficiently than ever. Advancements in computing power and data availability have significantly enhanced our understanding of how environmental factors impact the performance and longevity of PV systems. A thorough grasp of weather-related risks requires not just access to large, high-resolution datasets, but also advanced modeling techniques that accurately simulate how PV systems interact with their surroundings. Take India, for instance. The country faces high temperatures, humidity, strong monsoons, and significant rainfall, all of which exert physical stress on solar PV systems. Local pollution adds another layer of complexity. Compared to just 5 years ago, we now have the computing power and data necessary for a more detailed analysis of how climate changes affect PV technologies. By examining the interaction between PV modules, inverters, and weather conditions, we can predict degradation patterns and efficiency losses caused by extreme combinations of temperature and humidity. Moreover, strong winds and thunderstorms pose serious risks to solar systems, while hail is becoming an increasing threat in temperate climates. Although these weather events are not new, their frequency and intensity are on the rise. This is where we urge the industry to evolve by utilizing diverse environmental data and software solutions that leverage this information, offering higher resolution and detail. These tools help identify risk factors and optimize PV system designs, making them more resilient to the changing environment. By employing more detailed, robust, and physically based models, we can avoid configurations that might fail under extreme conditions. Consider the 2023 freeze in Texas, where a few days of unusually cold temperatures led to widespread energy infrastructure failures. The root cause? Systems weren't designed to withstand such extremes. A similar risk looms in tropical regions, where understanding and planning for not just typical conditions, but the full spectrum of possible extremes is crucial. What challenges do developers face today? For years, PV power plants, both globally and in India, were developed under relatively stable regulatory and financial conditions. Developers would calculate typical production and treat long-term estimates as fixed or guaranteed in their financial plans. However, the landscape has shifted. Today, constructing a power plant demands stricter grid compliance. Developers must provide accurate forecasts, and failing to meet projected production can lead to penalties. Energy storage has become a vital component of PV power systems, as operators need to manage weather variability and shift energy to periods of higher demand and prices. In many regions, solar prices are lowest around noon, but developers now need to design business models that allow for energy delivery in the late afternoon or evening when it's more valuable. This requires sophisticated technical designs, not just in hardware, but also in how and when electricity is sold. This is where the integration of high-quality data, advanced software, and detailed technical information about system components becomes essential. The level of detail available today enables developers to fine-tune PV systems to deliver electricity at the right time, in the right quantity, and at the right price. The future of solar energy is bright, and with the right tools and insights, we can ensure it shines even brighter.